going on inside the jury room. My expert Lions Den debate panel is lined up, ready to debate it all. But first, straight out to my exclusive guest, Charles Hendricks, who says he used to be a neighbor of defendant Michael Dunn. First of all, in the police report that I am holding in my hand about the Jordan Davis killing, it refers to a former neighbor having called police to say that he was not surprised Michael Dunn was involved in this incident. Are you that former neighbor? And if so, why are you not surprised? Charles.
Yes, I am the former neighbor. And just everything about his demeanor, his attitude towards others, his arrogance, that's why I wasn't surprised.
In your interview with the attorney for the family of the teenager that Dunn killed, you talk about two women you described as Dunn's previous two wives, who you say were foreign nationals from Mexico and Colombia. And here's what you claim they told you. Again, this is the video just released by the attorney for Jordan Davis's family. Watch, and then we'll talk to Charles Hendricks, the guy on the video, on the other side.
Different times through these relationships with these women, they had come to my house crying, claiming that they were scared to death of this individual, that he had put a gun to their head, that he had threatened to take their children away from them. They both had children. And he had threatened to have them deported if they didn't do exactly as he said, and that he would keep the kids, that they'd never see their kids again.
Pretty serious accusations. We're attempting to reach the two women you mentioned. Again, Charles Hendricks, our exclusive interview with the man who says he was a former neighbor of Michael Dunn. This tape just released by the attorney for the family of Jordan Davis, the teen shot by Michael Dunn. Now, we've reached out to Corey Strolla, the attorney for Mr. Dunn, have not heard back. No charges were ever filed as a result of these purported claims. Mr. Strolla is invited to join us now by phone if he's watching, or anytime. But Charles Hendricks, you said on the tape you even went into Michael Dunn's house and secretly removed his gun from his home. Tell us about that.
That was after one of the incidents when one of his former wives came to my house and told me that she was afraid of him, that she was afraid that he was going to kill her, that he had told her he was going to, and that he had held the gun to her head before. When she told me that, I took it upon myself to get permission from her to go in the house and remove the gun. It was as simple as that, nothing else. She told me that this would happen to her, so I went and I got the gun.
And you hid it in your home, being a neighbor? And then eventually you say she came back to you and said, what? And what did you do with the gun ultimately?
She said that she was afraid that he was going to find out that the gun was gone and it would just be bad for her. Would I please give it back? So I said, okay, as long as you feel comfortable. And I brought it back.
Now, of all the claims you made to the Davis family attorney on the tape, here's a very explosive one. We also see this in the police reports. It's mentioned, and you suggest that Dunn Software Company was involved in a legal dispute, and Dunn, according to you, allegedly, according to you, tried to hire you as a hitman? Let's watch the tape that was released by the family of Jordan Davis's attorney, and then we'll talk to the gentleman in the tape. Listen.
They were afraid that they were going to lose this case, and one incident that really bothered me and I didn't know what to do was him approaching me in front of another guy and saying, you know, this guy got to go. You know anybody that will take care of him for me? And I respond, what do you mean, take care of him? You want him beat up, what? And he said, no, I want him dead. The guy's a liar, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I don't know anybody, and I really am not interested in this conversation. My alarms went up then, and I said, you know, this guy's not right in the head.
It's important to point out this explosive claim never went anywhere. There was no evidence that a hitman of any sort was ever hired. Charges were never filed against Mr. Dunn. And Mr. Dunn has no criminal record except for what he's being accused of here, and the jury's deliberating right now. He had told cops when he was interviewed after the shooting that he had a DUI as a young man, but that doesn't show up on the reports. But given that Dunn had positive character witnesses, Charles Hendricks, again, our exclusive interview with you, the former neighbor, you say, of Michael Dunn, were you asked to testify, and would you have been willing to testify against your former neighbor, Michael Dunn?
Yes to both questions.
So elaborate. You were asked to testify?
Yes, I was.
By whom? The prosecution, presumably, or not?
I came up on the witness list, and I contacted the prosecutor's office to voice my displeasure with my name being out there like that without being prior notified. And that was about the extent of the conversation I had with them. When the two detectives interviewed me, they asked me if I would be willing to testify, and I said yes.
But were you ever subpoenaed?
No, ma'am.
You were
Never
not
received
subpoenaed.
a subpoena. I've been waiting.
You've not received a subpoena. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Why is it, these are all your claims, we can't independently verify, obviously, this very explosive claim that he approached you about hiring you as a hitman. But it is in this police report. It's mentioned, and I think it bears me to read this. Tuesday, 11/27/12, 0919 hours. I received a phone call from a witness, redacted, who would advised the news, advised that he used to be neighbors with Michael Dunn, and he called because he was not surprised Michael Dunn was involved in this incident. Neighbor for 8 years with Mr. Dunn, stated in 2000 Mr. Dunn dash someone to kill an individual for him. Mr. Dunn was having trouble with an individual, something related to computer companies, some of it's redacted, and wanted him eliminated. And I asked Mr. Dash, presumably you, sir, if he stated he did not. He advised as soon as Mr. Dunn brought up the subject, stated he contacted. So bottom line, obviously a lot of legalese and redaction there. When this originally purportedly happened, according to you, did you go to the police at that time?
I made a phone call. Did I go to them physically? No, I did not.
But tell us about the conversation with law enforcement that you say you had.
Basically, I called the Port St. Lucie Police Department, and I told them the background and asked them if I was contacting the right people. And nobody seemed to be able to get an answer for me. I was on hold for a while, and I hung up.
So suffice it to say, it never went anywhere.
No, ma'am. That's.
I mean, these are very, very serious allegations that you're making. And again, if Corey Stroll is watching, we would love to hear from him. He could pick up the phone and contact us. You could call our main number, 1-877-JVM-SAYS. But what did Michael Dunn specifically ask you to do? Spell it out for us.
Well, let me put it this way. I know nothing about Michael Dunn's business or his family business other than what I've been told. I would know nothing about whether they were involved in a litigation with a client, and I most certainly would not know his name, and I would not know what city he lived in unless that had been provided to me.
And you're saying he asked you to do what? If you could just state your contention, sir. Thank you.
It was a broad statement, an open-ended statement. I wish I could get somebody to take care of this guy. That type of statement. I can't give you precise words, but the gist of the conversation was, you know anybody that could take care of this guy for me? And when I asked him to expound on what he meant, beat him up, break his leg, what are you talking about? And he said, I'd like to see him dead.